Here we have a new 2023 Toyota Highlander in the limited trim level. This one comes with all-wheel drive in the beautiful celestial silver on graphite perforated leather interior. And we have a very interesting powertrain this year. We get a 2.4 liter turbocharged 4-cylinder engine made into an 8-speed automatic transmission. So can't wait to test that out here in a moment. But coming around the front end here, LED daytime running lights, LED headlamps, LED fog lights, and the daytime running lights do not flash like that. That's just how my camera's picking them up. But really love the design. Of course, this stems all the way back from 2020, but still looks really nice and still up to date. And love that gloss black grille. But down here we get the 20-inch aluminum wheels. Love that design there. We get passive keyless entry on the front doors. And then over here we have one-touch automatic up and down windows for all 4 doors. Power door lock controls here, rear window lock there, and then we have our power folding mirrors with blind spot monitors in them. We can set them up to an auto, so when you lock the car, they'll close. And then we have our power mirror controls here. You just turn to one side and then you can adjust using the knob there. Memory seats there. Love this trim here, how they threw that in there. It really goes with this gray. Love that. And then pretty usable door pocket here, cup holder. And then here's our power driver seat with power lumbar support. And while we make our way to the back, I'm just going to open the gas cap. But I have the seat in front of me adjusted for someone of my size, so I'm going to take a seat behind that and see how the legroom is. We do get our rear window blinds. Gotta have that. It's a big plus with this. And then love how usable the door panel is in the rear as well. But very impressive legroom. I'm 6'3", and I have longer legs. I'm just really impressed that they're not touching the back of the seat at all. Very good room in here. Then we have our rear AC controls here. We can set that to auto, adjust temperature, adjust where the fan is blowing, and adjust the speed there, and we can cut it all the way off if we need to. Then we have 2 USB-C ports down there, awesome, and then a 120 volt 3-prong household plug-in. Very impressed so far. And then we have the vents up top here, which is very interesting. It's blowing right at your face, so that could be a good thing or a bad thing. Then we have our clothes hanger here, grab bar here. And I love how they put the giant cup holders here, but it's still easy to make your way to that 3rd row. And there's your leg room back there. So you can fit your kids back there. Definitely wouldn't recommend sticking someone as tall as myself there, but it's just nice to have all this room in the front 2 rows. Let's make our way to the back. Gas cap there. And as we come around to the back end here, same styling, like I said, but just really love the look. Ever since they redid this in 2020, it's just been ahead of the game. And then speaking of that 3rd row, as we go back here, I adjusted the seat as far back as it would go, then as far forward as it would go without folding down. And that just shows there are many levels in between these two, but just really how adjustable these seats are. And all you have to do to inch them up is just slowly do that. And of course you can fold it flat if you need to. And then you just pull it back up by hitting the strap. Then like I said, that's that 1st level there. And we do get an 11 speaker JBL sound system. There's a big boy back here. And then we have a few roadside necessities if you ever need them. And there's our spare underneath there. And there's our exhaust. So let's make our way back. Before we check out the window sticker, see how this 2nd row seat folds down. So you can actually fold that down pretty nicely. And then you can run stuff upwards that way. So if you have something, you can fold that flat and then you'll have that space so the seat's not in the way if you need to do that. But I like how you can get that up and out of the way too. And then it shows you directions here. Of course, you can just hold this and slide it all the way up. And then when you tilt it up, get all that space there to make your way from the side instead of having to go in the middle. Now to this window sticker. Very impressed, of course, by mostly everything on here, but I'm very interested in this 2.4 liter turbo that's towing 5,000 pounds. That's pretty impressive. And we have the Toyota Safety Sense 2.5. All these standard features are very, very impressive. And this sticker's right at 5637. And I'm interested to check out that fuel mileage as well. But over here to the front passenger seat, we do get the power seat there, and I'm glad that we do have that, not a manual one. But love this here, how you have that storage there if you want to put your phone. Lockable glove compartment here, owner's manual's there. A little small, but they make up for it having this here. And aesthetically, from the outside and the inside, just really impressed by this Highlander. And this might be something that gives the Palisade Telluride combo a run for its money. Specifically with that turbo powertrain, because I'm a big fan of turbos if you've kept up with my channel. So I'm wondering how fast it'll feel. But there it is, 2.4 liter turbo 4. Just interesting to see in a Highlander as opposed to that naturally aspirated V6 that's been around so long. Let's hop in the driver's seat. Nice leather wrapped steering wheel here, really nice. Like I said, love how Toyota have these 3-spoke steering wheels that are easy to adjust. Now over here to the radio, we do get this 12.3-inch screen. You can set up a navigation subscription, but we do get our radio here. Hope the volume's down. Of course it is not. So let's turn that down there. But we get AM, FM, XM, along with Bluetooth audio, and then we get wireless Apple CarPlay, and then we have Android Auto, but then you can also set up Apple Music or Amazon Music with a Wi-Fi subscription there. And I just love this 12.3-inch screen, just a really nice look here, and very responsive. So of course, we have our settings we can go through here, and once everything is set up, you set up your own profile, all of that. You can use your Wi-Fi and set up your subscriptions. You can spend a lot of money on this radio, or you can just leave it as is, and it's pretty usable. But there's a backup camera, pretty good quality picture, and I love the guidelines. They look really, really high def, and they're very, very precise. So very impressed there. And then this volume knob, I didn't even see this here. So that's where the volume knob is, and of course you can mute there. For the dual zone automatic climate controls, fan speed here. We can adjust airflow there, temperature here, set your auto there, and then you can cut the AC on and off here. It's a little weird for me, but once you get used to it, you see why, because they had to make room for all this other cool stuff here. So we can actually cut the airflow off from the back, hitting this button, and then we can just toggle the rear climate here. So we can go through that, adjust the fan speed, same thing there, and then we can cut the rear climate off. And then rear defroster here with the heated mirrors, front defroster here. And I just really like having the 3-stage heated cooled seats as well for the driver and the front passenger. Hazards there. Love how they put the wireless charging pad out of the way, but it's still right in your face, having it right under the radio. That was a very smart design move there. And then we still have storage down here, a USB-A input, 2 USB-C inputs, and then a 12-volt there. And then to shift that 8-speed, pull the lever, reverse, neutral, drive, and then you can manually shift here. Cup holders here. Then we have our downhill control there, snow mode, automatic brake hold, electronic parking brake, press down to disengage while your foot's on the brake, and pull up to engage, traction control. And then we have 3 drive modes, so eco, normal, sport, and then we have our terrain modes with the all-wheel drive, so we can either do mud and sand or rock and dirt, and that'll set that up, and then you can just push the button to go back to normal. So really easy to do. And then still really generous center console cubby space with a removable tray that you can slide back and forth. Just really deep pocket in there. And this is kind of a hassle to get back in once you take it out, but Love how they did that. Now to the sunroof. Controls there. And we can do one touch open and close. We can tilt it as well, but slide it back there, and then you can do it all the way back by hitting the button a little bit longer. And one touch close as well. So decent, I shouldn't say decent, a very good size opening with the sunroof all the way up, or all the way back, excuse me. And then we have our garage door transmitter there. Back to the steering wheel, we do have voice recognition, volume, Bluetooth. We can use these 4 arrows to go through that middle part of the gauge cluster there. And then go through all of that. Now I love how just dynamic the screen is itself. And actually I said it goes through the middle part, but it's so adjustable, so it'll show you different things on either side, and then you can change those settings as well depending on what you want to have up. And I really like how they have a view where you can have your tire pressure monitors, see your safety sense and all that. And then to the right side, we can go through our modes. So whether you have the CarPlay up, the FM radio, the XM Bluetooth, you can toggle between that. And then depending on what you're in, whether it's the radio or your CarPlay, something like that, you can toggle between your tracks or your radio station presets using these 2 buttons here. Radar safety sense, or radar cruise, excuse me, you can toggle that there, and you can actually hold it, and then you can go into regular cruise, and then just hold it again to put it back into radar cruise there. And then lane tracing assist, you can adjust the gap for that cruise there, and then just your standard controls here to go forward in speed, back in speed, all of that. Headlamp controls here, auto, fog lights, high beams, and then you can flash there. And then to the right side, windshield wipers here, intermittent low, high, one time. You can adjust the intermittent there. Rear wiper, and then push back for rear wiper fluid, pull up for front wiper fluid. Push button start. And I almost forgot to show you all the tweeters up here as well for that 11 speaker system, which is killer. But finally, here's our key fob. So next, let's go ahead and take this 2023 Toyota Highlander Limited out on the road for a quick test drive. So even in eco mode, really impressed by the acceleration here. Just really good throttle response. I'm gonna put it in normal now. And I want to keep the all-wheel drive up so y'all can see where the power kind of divvies out. Of course, I put my foot into it. Depending on how I'm driving, it'll give me the correct amount, whether it's to the front wheels or to all 4 wheels. But so far, ride quality is decent. I will say what's interesting is if you look on the gauge cluster, I don't know if y'all can see it, but when I go over the speed limit, even if it's like 1 mile an hour, that speed limit sign will turn red, which is very, very cool actually, because a lot of people who drive these, they're gonna not pay attention necessarily, whether they're on their phone or whatever, distracted by the kids, and it's nice to have that kind of telling you, hey, just in case you didn't know, you're going over the speed limit. So that is really, really cool. Now coming down this back road here, the 20s are not loud, but they're definitely louder than the smaller wheels that are available. But really just love the overall ride of this. It's not overly jarring, but it also has kind of a spirited feel to it in just how it handles, specifically with this 2.4. And I'm definitely going to test it out on the interstate, but the normal mode, it has a lot of pull for this kind of vehicle. But all in all, I really like just how the center stack is laid out. Hood is sloped down. Everything just makes this really easy to drive, even with it being a somewhat larger vehicle, especially because it has 3 rows. So if you're needing something to go up from your Camry or Altima or whatever, this is not going to be a huge learning curve. as opposed to maybe going to a Tahoe or a Suburban or something along those lines, an Expedition, something like that. Or if you want to stick to Toyota and don't necessarily want the bigger Sequoia, you have this option here, which is pretty much, for most people, going to be just as usable. Now the Sequoia will tow a little bit more. It's, I'm sure, faster, much larger on the inside, but a lot of people get a little too much going with something that size and you don't necessarily need it. But this is just kind of in a compact size while still being extremely roomy and extremely practical. And if you don't want the hybrid Highlander and you still want something that drives more spiritedly and you're getting around the same gas mileage, that 2.4 turbo might be just enough for you. And like I said earlier, having that 5,000 pound tow rating is very, very interesting to me. I'm gonna put it in the sport mode now. I'm intrigued. And I'm actually gonna use the sport shift as well. Put it in the manual mode. Coming out of this corner, I'm gonna give it all it's got. Wow. Yeah, the shifts are really nice too. They're very, very responsive, very quick. Now we're gonna put it into the automatic mode and just give it some throttle here. Yeah, it's somewhat fast actually. Yeah, very, very impressed. I get a little excited, so I'm gonna put it back into the eco mode for driving down the interstate here. And just a tad, and I mean just a tad loud in here. I'm trying to think of what I just drove that was surprisingly quiet. I think it was the Armada. I drove the Armada and the Armada was very, very quiet. But I mean this here, like I said, you're getting 18 miles per gallon if you're lucky in the Armada on the highway. You're getting 28, and then probably a little bit higher. Toyota tends to just be incredible when it comes to fuel economy. And you're in something that's, for me, just as usable. And they just did everything really smart in this Highlander. You get your safety sense, just how the seats are set up. You have the captain chairs, but you can still use the cup holders in the middle. And just how this is laid out, this is very, very impressive. Just love the setup with the radio. Everything is close to me, but it's not on me, if that makes sense. So it's just pull up, get the button, and I'm not having to have it this close and then hitting it with my hand as I'm just sitting here. Ride quality is definitely very, very good on the interstate here with these 20s. Very impressed. And especially with the JBL sound system, the wind noise is not going to be a problem more than likely because the radio is going to be so in your face in a good way. You're not going to be necessarily concerned about that. But just a really nice driving car. Brake, you got to give it a little bit of force, but once you get used to it, it's really nice. And like I said, in the eco mode, even though it's dialing you back based on your throttle response, it's still not, you don't feel like the engine's about to choke out. And you're really supposed to use it on the interstate anyway, kind of keep it in normal mode if you're driving around town. But coming to the end of this test drive, really love the new 2.4 turbo. Drives really nicely, and it just works out, and you're not burning all that extra gas if you don't need it, having a naturally aspirated V6. And this will bring me to the end of my review of the new 2023 Toyota Highlander Limited all-wheel drive.